Hey there, how you doing? I'm Yalik. This is a Fat Fingers video. Haven't been able to do one of these in quite a while. Things have been hectic. But we actually have a twofer today. As it happens, I've already tried to make a video for Task Force video for Fat Fingers twice recently, and both times it didn't work out. The first time somebody did not respect the closed door and interrupted, so I had to stop that, and then I completed a second video, but then when I went to listen to it, the game sound was up, and with the game volume up you couldn't hear me talk over the sound of the waves on the beach, which you can barely hear here because my volume is down quite low. Anyway, it was like a roaring hurricane and you couldn't understand much of what I was saying, so that video also had to be scrapped. Anyway, we're Fat Fingers. Let's see who is not here right now. So Perrins was on our roster. Perrins decided to take a little bit of a break. I don't know if that's related to the holiday season, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. So double trouble here. That is actually DCB, also known as the Cool Bro, who I believe has his own YouTube channel, so if you like this kind of stuff, go check that out. He stepped in for Perrins, and right now Maverick is not in the task force. We've actually kind of been sort of lagging recently, meaning like it's starting to feel like work, and we've been at this push for quite a while, and we were hanging out in the 20s for the longest time, and I don't know why in the past week or so we have jumped up. We've been as high as 14, we've been hanging around in the teens, and we're doing better, but it feels worse. I don't know what that is. It could just be, you know, all in my head, because it's been a very long year and a lot of things seem like they're dragging. But anyway, so what I mean by twofer is that we're going to show, let's see, I think it's the 988 here was a 5 blue lines operation, and the 1131, which was the original video I tried to make, was a 5 blue lines operation. Even with our fails recently, you know, 976, still very good force points with a fail thrown in there. 869 a couple of times. Let's see, one, log no longer available. But even our fails have actually been decent, I suppose. But at least twice here recently we've been able, we've obviously had some pretty good rolls, but we've been able to kill, well, not the op, can't kill the op in a 5-man team because there are 6 bases, but we've been able to rack up 5 solos. So what I plan to do for this video is I'm going to pick a hit for each guy on the team from one of those 2 operations, and yeah, we'll watch that. So let's see, starting with Mav here, this was Jabba and it was a 226. I'm actually going to show his hit from yesterday, or the operation that finished previously. It was this afternoon, but we'll call it yesterday's operation. Anyway, this low point was really interesting, and the approach was really interesting. He had posted about this in chat, asking for ideas what to do with this, and I wasn't able to log in right away, so I guess he and Sven and DCB talked this out a little bit and decided on a very unorthodox strategy for this low point, which, as you can see, has 27 million rockets. So hacking out this shock launcher, not totally sure that's necessary, to be honest, because all of this stuff up front is going to be shocked. It's going to have to be, because you have, oh, he did hack out one of the boom cannons there. So I mean, I guess it worked anyway, so you can't really complain, but like all of that stuff was going to be shocked here. Oh, the shock launcher didn't die. That's interesting, with 2 boom cannons sitting right next to it. So anyway, the approach here, what do we have there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boats of Scorchers. So 10 Scorchers here, and he's just trying to carve out a place to stand amongst all of this stuff up at the front. We'll speed this up a little bit till we get to the interesting bit, which is here, where he drops 3 boats of Gramps, and now he's going to burn through this shield. I don't know what the health was on that. Probably not incredibly high, so let's say 3 million on the shield. And so this is the part where, when I actually got back into, when I was able to log in and see what was up, this was the point where I was watching this hit the first time, and I was like, what the hell is supposed to happen from here? I mean, you can probably guess. He's going to try to get his Scorchers back and use, well, one of them ended up getting trapped up there and just mauled by those boom cannons. But he's trying to keep this stuff, these rocket launchers, off his Gramps for as long as possible till that Scorcher can get into position. And this is actually the beautiful part of this hit right here. Where, like, he could have stood here for a long time shooting at that. So this was an interesting approach to low point. It's only the 119. I don't know if he'll not appreciate me showing a 119. As opposed to a bigger, more interesting, cooler base. But I really loved the approach. It was a good attack. It was a team effort there, and that game plan ended up working beautifully. Even watching it happen the first time, I kind of didn't believe it was working. Kind of feel like, from what I saw in chat, kind of feel like the other guys sort of felt the same. So, a very unusual low point, but in a very unusual way to beat it. So let's see, that was Maverick, and we'll go back to the 1131. I went next. I had the Machina here. It was a 298. We might show that because it's kind of comical. And then I had this Orbifold, which, as far as I know, was just a pretty standard Orbifold. Yeah, I don't think there's anything special about that. So we'll go back here and watch the Machina. Now, I don't know why exactly, but my name had been put on this Machina. Now, I don't consider myself to be like a specialist or anything. I like the base. But, I mean, I typically, I do the brick approach, which is pretty easy, to be honest. The bullet approach. Take that back. The brick approach is usually not my favorite. But regardless, the guys decided to put my name on this base. So, alright, this was my base. Now, the building health up there, you can see, is 981. So that's 1.8, 1.9 plus 200k. So it's around 2.1 million. Probably that's why my name got put on this, because I have an extra damage statue versus the other guys. They had recommended farming over here. Everyone knows I love to farm. It wasn't really going to be necessary. This is not a hit where GBE is super important. Having a lot of it is not really necessary with the bullet approach that you're going to see here. We need to shock this this set of rocket launchers at 6. These over here will be unable to see the Zookas, and these rockets over here do not need to be shocked. People do shock them from time to time. You might preserve a few Zookas that way, but as you'll see later, these are going to focus on Bullet and not on the girls. The girls will be sitting back here, and Bullet ends up being a little closer to these rockets than the girls are, so they lock onto him. They look like they're dangerous, but they're not. But I see so many people shock those rockets. All you really need to shock here is just this stuff at 6, like I said. So that's one shock on repeat. Now at this point in the hit, I'm thinking I'm golden, there's nothing wrong in the world, and I'm going to have, I actually had the GBE where I was going to shock those just because. Save a few girls. It's not hugely important, but I had a lot of GBE. However, right around here, things started to go a little wonky. I looked at those smokes, and I did not like those smokes. So, as I said, the girls are going to be standing kind of back here, all squeezed in behind this rocket launcher, and it looked like it might get a little sketchy. And so I decided, right here, I've already thrown one smoke, and there's the other. I decided to redo those two smokes. I knew I had the GBE for it, so that wasn't an issue. However, that did change my plan with regards to this other set of rocket launchers. So I ignored them, and just went with the one shock repeated down here. At this point I think I had like 46 GBE just before coming out of smoke, so that's plenty for taunts and for a couple of shocks on this stuff back here. Now, as you can see, this is what I was saying about bullet. When you use the bullet method, you flare first to this defense and second to this defense and then to the core. Bullet always gets pulled to this same position, and you can see that these rocket launchers are looking at him. They're looking at him because if you were to draw a straight line from him to the rocket launchers, that would be slightly shorter than the line between the Zookas here and those same rocket launchers. So those don't have to be shocked. In this case, I didn't shock them because I wasn't going to be able to, and the hit worked out, beautifully just the same. You see where the majority of those girls like to position themselves, but I just didn't want to take the chance with the gap back here. Really terrible, terrible smokes. So I screwed up, and I fixed it, and the hit worked out, but you know, better to be lucky than good sometimes, I think. But I thought that was pretty funny, and I will say it in my defense, or to my credit there, that was some pretty quick thinking. Sven, next, we've got a 262 complex. As I recall, that was a really weird complex, so I think we'll probably watch that one on this. He got the 298, it was a Java. Nah, I mean, we'll look at the complex. The health on this is high, but otherwise it's a pretty easy Java for a 298 anyway. So we'll go back to here because this complex was wonky. We should have looked at his troops lost there. So this hit, however, was not going to be particularly clean, like 9 Zookas lost, because this is a very weird complex. There are things missing here on the shore. It looks like there are defenses missing in the middle of this walk, and there are defenses missing back here. Normally there would be a 4-pack of defenses just above this building damage statue, and your Zookas will stand behind them. With nothing in that spot, no defenses there, this gets weird because your parking spot is going to change. Your Zookas are going to spread out because there are no defenses for them to anchor to. So Sven has cleared some extra mines here, just to be cautious about that. Normally you clear the 9 up here. He's also cleared another 6 down here right beside the core in anticipation of that spread. The health on this was pretty good, I thought. Yeah, so that's just over 2 million, 1.8 plus 2. Now, as I said, there are things missing near the shore as well. So this is unusual. Sven almost never does this landing on complex. He usually just flags over to the side, but with defenses and such missing cells, it changes the way the Zookas behave at the shoreline. Again, things missing on the walk, that changes the way that the Zookas will behave on this walk. This is really a pretty nasty complex, even for Sven, who loves complex. This is not a fun one. So thanks, and good for him for grabbing it. Now from this point, he's good for a little while, and there's nothing extra funky about this. But up here, one last smoke, and then he's going to 2-smoke the kill zone, which he never, again, just because this is such a weird complex, he normally does not do that. Now that's a long walk. I don't believe he had the GBE for 3 shocks, so he's going to do 2 on the rocket launchers and the shock launcher nearby. And this one, down low, he's going to ignore, and it is going to fire and eat up a big chunk of his girls here. Now there are plenty standing back there, and he's doing a lot of damage, but he had to use extra smokes. That extra smoke back here, 2-smoking your kill zone on complex is expensive, so not going to have the GBE for the 3rd shock, and you know, he made a calculated decision there. Pretty sure he was aware that was going to be the case. Just a very not nice, very wonky complex. Let's see. So next we have this is no name is Argus on another low point. This was a 190 low point, and then from yesterday we had Argus on Quantum. That's an interesting troop loadout, but we'll watch the low point, actually, because this was a very different low point from the one you saw earlier. Now Argus is doing the standard approach. So the Scorcher method that Maverick used on the earlier low point that I showed you, that would not have worked at all here. You would be dead, and you would be dead very, very fast, because this is an unusual low point. All boom cannons over here. No shock launcher here. These are usually just mortars, mixed in with sniper towers, which again, very bad for Scorchers. Over time, sniper towers fire quickly. No rocket launcher over here, instead a flamethrower. Just a very, very different approach to the exact same base. Oh, another one over here. This is a machine gun instead of normally being a shock launcher, as like these two shock launchers here. So this is what I would call the standard approach to this base. This is the path I prefer, down to the corner and then up to here. Maverick hates this path. He feels like it wastes time. But, hey, he got his blue line here, so he's shocking everything in the world here. Not really necessary to shock boom cannons. Over here, too. But, and it's such an unusual low point, actually. So usually you would be smoking your troops again here. He's not bothering because there is no shock launcher, and because these are just boom cannons. Speed him up a little bit right here. So he's still got a lot of boom cannons to clear. And with those snipers over there, I'm wondering how that affects... Oh, that's right. So I was wondering how this affects the usual kill zone, but he doesn't end up in the usual kill zone because, again, this is a weird low point. Usually you need to clear to this one mortar here, and often I will hack it. That's one of the advantages of having Everspark for this hit. And then you can reposition here to burn through the shield. He doesn't do that because, again, well, that's good. I guess we're getting done here very soon. He repositions a good bit further over to the right than you normally would on this base, and so he's still got a couple of boom cannons here. He's gotten away from this mortar for the most part. He hacked one of the boom cannons, and this one is firing on his girls and occasionally on the critters. But not really going to matter. One boom cannon shooting every 4 seconds. Still has quite a few Zukas remaining. And I think he punches hack when the shield goes down. He gets a little extra GBE here. Could be wrong. Yep, there it is. Okay. So he hit hack and got rid of that final boom cannon too. Didn't see how long this attack was. How much time he had remaining, I forget. Feel like it was close. But anyway. Two low points, two different approaches because of just two very different sets of circumstances. And finally, what do we have? I think we have DCB. Did we do DCB? Let's see if we can get this in and get it in quick, because, I got an Axiom, and then from the first day that was Axiom. Here, DCB had Duality. We'll do the Axiom. Actually, we'll do the Axiom because this was a weird Axiom, if I recall. Let's see if yeah. So, no cells over here, nothing at shore to anchor your troops. That's bad because this is a hot beach also. So he's going to do this little seesaw flare-back thing here, trying to get his troops kind of grouped together. Not easy to do in this situation. So this is, it's an Axiom and it's a 155, but it needed to go down, and it did. But really not the most pleasant base to take here. They're walking in a very unusual path, but then again, he never really got grouped at the beach because how can you there? Brick has taken some fire, but hopefully from here this should be nice. And he only lost 9 Zukas somehow on this. I don't know how either, because that walk was just, I would not want to have had to deal with that landing. And in fact, I didn't. That's why I hit something else on this operation. That's the advantage of hitting early. You get to hit what you want. You don't get the leftovers. So, somehow managed to turn that, DCB did, into a fairly clean kill, in despite of, again, the circumstances at the beach. Very unusual base layouts that we have been having recently. So anyway, we're Fat Fingers. We're, you can go back and check our videos. We're a 5-man push team. Been at it for a good amount of time, and this is where we hang out, as I showed you earlier. Hopefully I'll have the opportunity to do more of these videos sooner in the future than I don't know how long it's been since the last one of these I did. And hopefully the beach sound in this video does not overwhelm the sound of my voice, because I would hate to have to make this video a 4th time. Anyway, I'm Yalik. Like, thumbs up, all that stuff. I'll catch you later. Take care.